You want a tool that allows you to drill down from record to subrecords, etc. You can do so by using Access VBA. This is a little form that simulates what we try to do. In this section you are able to select one of the departments from the table departments, and in this drop-down box it shows you only employees from the table employees, but only those in that department. And when you click on one of those names, it will automatically open the form main employees and show you the record for that particular person from that particular department. So this is a filtering issue basically. It is a very simple database that I use as an example. It has only 3 tables. One department has many employees and one employee has many timesheets. Notice that every table has IDs. Department ID here is the primary key. The department ID here is the foreign key that allows you to find out which employee is in that department. And then finally the employee ID in the timesheets, but we will not use that one. So your form is very simple. It has 2 labels and 2 combo boxes. So how do we get the listing of all the departments? I did that in the form load event. So when you open this form and it loads, it will automatically put these departments in there. If those departments change very often during the day, then you don't want to do it in the form load event, but for instance in the enter event when the user goes into this combo box. I did the form load event. I declared the variable of the string type as SQL. I made sure that the form doesn't have scroll bars, for this is a very specific kind of form. I made sure that it doesn't have record selectors, for there are no records in here, and the navigation buttons are also turned off. Then we make sure that the other combo box is disabled until the user chooses a department, for otherwise we don't know which employees to find. Then we create an SQL statement that says select from the table departments the field department ID and the field department. Don't forget department ID. Through the department ID we will be able later on to find certain employees. Then we expand that SQL statement by an order by statement. Make sure that there is a space before the word order. Otherwise that order becomes part of the name table department. Then we set a few properties of the combo box departments, this one, with a with and with statement. We set the bound column to 1. That means when the user clicks on human resources, it remembers the department ID of that department and not the department. The column count is 2 for department ID and department, but we hide the department ID by setting the widths of the columns, the first one 0 inch and the other one 1 inch. And finally we make the row source behind this combo box based on the SQL statement that we implemented here. So when someone clicks on a certain department, the after update event kicks in. And then we want to fill this combo box. First of all, we want to enable it and we want to fill it with employees from that specific department. So we need a string type variable again. In order to empty that combo box from previous settings, we have to make sure that we set the focus first on this guy, so that we can empty the other guy by setting it to null. If the user had not chosen anything in here but had left it empty, then we have to do something else. We can do our work. If they leave it empty, we disable that second combo box, otherwise we enable it. Then we start our SQL statement. Select employee ID. Again, don't forget that one, because that one is going to identify later on which employee we want to see in the form with all the information. Last name, first name from table employees. So here are the two columns. The first column is going to be hidden again with a width of 0 inch. This time we have to add to the SQL statement a where statement. Make sure there is space before the word where. The department ID equals, and then we hook onto it whatever was chosen in CBO departments. Remember, when we click on finance, it remembers in the bound column the number of that department and not the word finance. I made sure in my database that department ID is a number. If it's not a number, then we have to put a single quote before this double quote, and at the end we have to hook on with space, ampersand, space, double quote, single quote, double quote. I don't have that problem because all my IDs are real numbers, which is very wise to do so. Then I added an order by statement. Don't forget space before order again. We want the last names alphabetically and then the first names alphabetically. We set the CBO combo box employees with a few settings again. We make sure that the bound column is number 1. The column count this time is 3. Employee ID, last name, first name. The column width is 0 inches for the first one, 1 inch for the second and the third one. The row sort is an SQL statement. In this case it's wise to also say .requery, so you requery the combo box. Set the focus on that combo box and open it automatically for the user so they see that they can select from that list. Once they select a specific employee, it's going to open up the record for that employee with all the information. This employee is definitely from finance, of course, and we do that with the update after update event. When someone selects a name in this box, then we are going to use a filter to make sure that we get only one record in here. So we open the form main employees, that's how I called this form, with a specific filter. Set the filter first. The employee ID equals whatever comes out of the combo employees bound column box. Again, my IDs are always real numbers. If they are not real numbers but text, you have to use the trick I discussed before. Then we use the do command open form subroutine action. Open form, open table, open report, etc., open query. They have a very specific set of arguments. First, the name of the form, the object you want to open, and in the last argument it says you can open it with a filter. If you don't use a filter, it will show all the records. So sFilter says I'm only going to show this guy. And then you probably want to maximize that form, but that is up to you. Let's test the code. Here is the form Cascading. Because we loaded it, it automatically shows us all the departments. Let's say the marketing people. These are all the marketing people. Let's say we want Barbara Brown. And it will show Barbara Brown only. It is a filtered record, and of course Barbara Brown is in marketing. If you want to know much more about Access VBA, I developed a great tool for you. It is a CD-ROM for 2007, but it does the same work for 2010 and 2013. It has a very rich array of issues. In part 1, these are the issues. In part 2, much more. And finally part 3, the most advanced issues. I don't think there are many issues left that were not discussed in this CD-ROM. It has more than 1500 slides, and it goes into all the details you could ever dream of. Where can you find it? At MrExcel.com, Amazon.com, GenesisPC.com. If you go to Mr. Excel or Amazon, just type my name, Gerard Verschuren, and you will find all the tools I developed for you.